Oh, we are rolling from the starting gate on this Saturday afternoon here at Gulfstream Park West. Good to have you with us, everybody. Ron Nicoletti, Jason Blewett alongside, and we're settled in. Another 10-race card here in Miami Gardens.
10-race card, and the big news, of course, that Rainbow Six starting getting very, very tempting with that 137 plus that's starting in race number 5. And I always say this ad nauseum. When it gets over 100,000, it starts building and building. It's going to be a good one today.
Yeah, it's been fun watching it grow by the days. In fact, we have not had a single jackpot winner of the Gulfstream Park West Rainbow Six since we opened up the joint a few weeks ago.
Well, the great point is if you watch some of the payoffs of the 6 of the 6, they've been great. 5,000, 6,000. You know, you have to share it, but it's not like you get $12. You know, so you bet into it. Some of those payoffs are really nice.
And just for 20 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you need. 20 cents and a little luck and maybe some good handicapping on your side. Now, we do run 10 today, and this is, believe it or not, the halfway point of this 40-day racing meet. Yeah, man.
Today, 20 days?
Day number 20 of 40. And with that in mind, just looking at the news, I mean, as far as our game is concerned, Thoroughbred Racing, a couple of different newsworthy items. Winks making it 22 in a row. Early this morning, our time, over in Australia. I mean, she is just amazing. What can you say?
Right.
And then the Breeders' Cup, man, Breeders' Cup Saturday, 7 days away.
7 days away, and of course it starts on Friday. So we got our contingent here from Gulfstream Park and Gulfstream Park West, and we're rooting for them. And of course, my buddy Gunavera.
Gunavera, who had that nice 5/8 breeze. We showed it to you yesterday here on Gulfstream West today. 5/8 over the main track in 102. Now, as far as the weather, it's a little overcast, and certainly you'll want to keep it locked to our GPW feed and track announcer Chris Griffin throughout the day. If there's any changes, we hope we can dodge any sort of significant rain and get through this card, because we do have 5 turf races. And we also have a couple of pick 5s and a $1 super high 5. And it all begins a little after 1:15 in about an hour, give or take. And that super high 5, Ronnie, in the first.
And we also got the first of 2 pick 5s, and Jason will have a ticket in just a couple of moments to show you there. And you're watching it on the screen. You see that main track is sealed right now. Rainbow Six, as we just mentioned, starting in race number 5.
Ooh, $137, almost a $138 in that Rainbow Six carryover. And we close it out in race number 6 today with the opening leg of the 50-cent late pick 5. We had a number of nice prices win on yesterday's 10-race card here at GPW, and the one thing that really stuck out, I think, early on to us, and I'm sure many of you, early speed. I mean, flaunted wire-to-wire speed. That seemed almost like the deadliest weapon you could have.
Especially on the turf course. And the last race of the day, horse went to the front and won. So I think there was 3 or 4 horses that actually, 4 horses that went to the lead, out of 6 that went to the lead. So something to pay attention to. And we mentioned, you know, last week, Wednesday, maybe we had some rain. You always think that maybe the turf course will get softer. It ran great. It was absolutely good for speed. No clods coming up, so we'll see how it plays out today.
Fast and firm, and again, fall has arrived here in South Florida. There is very little humidity, and that is a beautiful thing for sure. Now, as far as the early pick 5, let's show you my ticket as we get GPW today underway. Ronnie and I both have the same 2 horses. Ronnie's got the 6 on top in the first. I have the 3, both for excellent barns, and they're both taking, I think, realistic drops in for 62.50, and that is basically my point of contention in singling this entire early pick 5 sequence with trader Angel Rodriguez in race number 3, as he has the number 2, Don't Come Knockin', in for the 62.50. Ronnie has Mario's Revenge on top, and man, I'll tell you, the 4th race, didn't want to get cute, had a hard time getting cute there, and sure enough, you've got Winnie and Cosita Rica, the 5 and 7 one too.
Yeah, I think those are the logical 2. Third race, I went a little different way, so I have to go back and revisit that. And then in the 5th leg, I had the 2, 7, and 8 on my ticket, and I think 7's the one for me, and that's Flying Queen.
Yeah, oh, so you do have, I'm glad you have little Florentina, who I gave a little shout out there. She looks, she's just got a sneaky little look to her today. 2 races to date, both on extremely sloppy tracks, and I'm hoping by the time race number 5 rolls around, and hopefully we hit this thing for $12, that she will get a fast track to run on for the first time in her three-race career, and she also gets the maiden diploma. Now, the first race, in getting back to that first comment, and it's fairly obvious once you pick apart the cast in this bottom-level 6250 claimer for fillies and mares. Mike Maker sending out the 3, Arella Princess in for 6,250, and then Ralph Zadie basically doing the exact same thing with the number 6, Lucky Bella.
Yeah, Lucky Bella dropping to this level this afternoon, stretching out to 7/8 of a mile on the main track. First starts, it's finishing a troubled fourth. That was a $10,000 type race, going 5 furlongs on the turf. The mare, is 2 for 4 on the Gulfstream West main track, and you know that Ralph Zadie is going to track attention. Current 2 to 5. I think those odds are going to change. And
well, that was my $5 that knocked her down to 2 to 5. Very early in the wagering, but she might be favored. And you would think it's probably going to be pretty close between
I would think
her
so.
and the 3 Arella Princess.
Absolutely.
Ronnie.
And Arella Princess, to mention her, shifting to the main track, facing tougher on the turf. Of course, now I want to show you stat on Mike Maker. Now, Mike Maker, when I first looked at these, he's had run 5,000 horses over the last 5 years. But he doesn't do this much, but it's good. Turf to dirt. These are low-level claimers. He's 5 for 16, 31%, 50% in the money, $1.73 return of investment. And the reasoning behind this, it's not something he does a lot, but he does it good. So just wanted to show you that low-level claimers going from turf to dirt.
So it's Maker against Zadie, perhaps for all the marbles, and then you also bring in Amisael Jaramillo riding Arella Princess and Edgar Zayas off a 2-win, and both those guys had 2-win Friday afternoons at GPW on the 6 Lucky Bella. And we were talking as well, Ronnie, a quick pop to the number 2, I'm Really Something, who, man, you are right. She loves 7/8.
And I love horses that love that distance. This one changed barns, went to owner, trainer Angel Kyros's barn via the claim stretches out. Certainly her most accomplished distance. 13 starts, 4 wins, 2 seconds, 2/3. I like that angle. So if you're going to save with somebody, maybe you put a couple of bucks on the 2.
And this seems like a meet that trainer Angel Kyros probably points to.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit easier than the championship meet, lo and behold. A little easier, I think, for the most part at some of these claimers than the summer meet over at Gulfstream Park, and his horses are running very well. As we move on to race number 2, second race on the afternoon is our opening turf event. 5 grass races in total. We go with a field of 8 in this 2-year-old $20,000 maiden claimer, and it was originally a 9-horse field, but we lost perhaps the favorite, the number 7 Cabin John. With that horse out, I, much like you, prefer the 3-9, 9-3 Exacta box. And what can you say? Both of our top picks, Ronnie, and both our Exacta horses coming out of races that have been super live.
And I originally had the 9 right on top of my ticket, even with the Cabin John in the race. And what you do is listed as a gelding. He's dropping to the 20 level. He broke slowly, never really got untracked in his maiden special weight debut at the distance. But that was a productive race that produced a trio of next out winners, including Breeders' Cup bound Catholic Boy. That horse went up and won the grade 3 with anticipation up there at Saratoga.
Yeah, trained by Jonathan Thomas, his first ever Breeders' Cup starter, coming up on Friday afternoon, just 6 days from now, with Catholic Boy in the BC Juvenile Turf. Now, Crown to the Gold is coming out of a race that's had 2 return, and that was King Angelus, who won by daylight on October 14th, just a couple of Saturdays ago, and a rainstorm. I mean, this was a case, it was the horses going around the turf, and if you look right beyond the turf course, I think you saw Noah's Ark floating by. It was like a biblical rainstorm, and this horse didn't run that bad, checking in third.
Checking in third. He just missed finishing second in that race, and I was part of that. You saw me swimming behind the boat that afternoon.
Yes, and you tried to swim to your car. In fact, you got stuck there for a little while. You said, oh, I had to wait till the water to recede out in the back here at Gulfstream West.
Exactly.
So, yeah, Crown to the Gold off that good effort in a very much driving rainstorm. I'm going to take him here on a far better weather day here in Miami Gardens. Let's move on to race number 3. This afternoon, Saturday's card continues with this 6250 2-lifetime claimer on the main track at 6 furlongs. And my feeling, although the number 2, Don't Come Knockin', Ronnie, is just not in great form at all, I think this is a realistic drop with a horse who's just had trouble picking up his feet of late. For me, the firepower was really towards the inside. Your pick included Mario's Revenge and then the 2 inside posts, Don't Come Knockin', and let's show you D. Shiflett, who, this was like the Gulfstream West $6,250 version of affirmed an Alydar. Or maybe a Jiper and Rydan in the Travers back in the mid-'60s. These two hooked up from the gate, battled head and head, and D. Shiflett outside lost a tough one to put the boss back down on the rail in those white blinkers.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great race, and these are, as we always say, the lifeblood of the racing.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Heart
world.
and soul, baby.
Yeah, but here's why I went with Mario's and that game performance right now. And all things being equal, I probably should have had the two closer up the ticket. But Mario's revenge is turning back to 3/4 of a mile. After stalking the pace, he finished fourth when facing this same caliber competition, going 7/8. But he's a 1-for-8 gelding. The rest of the field, D. Shiflett, 1 for 25. Key to the Storm, 1 for 32. So what I did, simple arithmetic. I went with the one that lost the least amount of time.
I saw the advocates on your desk, actually. I walked by, I said, oh, Ronnie's got the advocates out. You ran out of fingers. Not with Mario's Revenge, only 8 starts and a good point. And his last two, to be fair, have been respectable at a more demanding 7/8. He is, without a doubt, a major player. For me, ultimately, I prefer the drop-down, don't come knocking. And again, D. Shiflett, if he can translate that tough luck head loss last time out in the slop to what we hope by the time the third rolls around to a fast track, he'll have a major say in the outcome. It's race number 4 on the day. Race number 4, a 7.5 furlong, 2-year-old filly, $16,000 maiden claimer. And it's rare, I think, on this show for us to backtrack, say, 3, 4, 5 races for a replay with a particular horse. However, when you consider the dirt races and the fact that even 3 starts back on the turf, Cosita Rica lost a rider at 4-5. I think the most telling race of all of her 5 races is this event back on July the 23rd, when she looked like she was going to get the money in this turf claimer over at Gulfstream Park and lost a tough one by just a head. This race matters today, though, Ronnie, because I think the conditions, 2 turns on the turf, right for her today. That's what she wants to do.
Well, this was her second career start, and she ran okay, and then it dumped a rider, as you mentioned, in the 3rd race, lost all chance when she stumbled at the start in the 4th race. Then I thought she was overmatched in the $75,000 R. Peggy Stakes. Want to show you a stat on the trainer, Francisco D'Angelo, over the last 5 years. Turf to dirt, maiden claiming, 5 for 18, 28%, 50% in the money, $7.82 return on investment.
Big number.
So this horse here, just one of those little, you could read a little small novel in its trouble lines here. So we'll see how that one runs. But both of us put winning on top.
Now, was this supposed to say dirt to turf?
Yeah.
Okay, dirt to turf.
Yeah,
this is obviously a turf race today. So just flip that around. But
that was my fault for typing it wrong.
Yeah, we'll fix that before the afternoon, no doubt. And obviously, just wanted to double check with you. Francisco D'Angelo, dirt to turf, obviously does a pretty good job with his maiden claimers. And we're fans as well. Maybe not a household name as far as Breeders' Cup races go, but anyone that's been paying attention to South Florida over the last few months, Reed Nagel does a fantastic job, and there's no qualms or knocks on our top pick here, the number 5 Winnie, who ran well with a good trip on the grass last time.
Dropping a notch, turning back slightly to 7.5 today, made that late move to finish 4th, a local debut, going a mile here, a race that has already produced a couple of next out winners. So,
all right, sounds good, yes. And that horse, the first horse to return on the turf off that October 7th race, when beaten just 2 and change for the win. 5-7, 7-5. Thought it was tough to get cued outside the ones that have solid turf races to date. And with the first 4 down, it's all about chasing that rainbow with Ronnie and myself after the break.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions that make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet. We are racing.
I'm Javier Castellano.
I am Joel Rosario.
I'm John Velasquez. For the first time ever, the Clásico del Caribe will be at Gulfstream Park. Entertainment, special events, and the best horses from Latin America and the Caribbean. Right here in South Florida.
Right here in South Florida. It's a thriller, it's a popular, it's an international, the Clásico del Caribe. It's coming to Gulfstream Park.
The Clásico del Caribe is coming to Gulfstream Park on December 9th.
I'll be there. Will you?
Will undoubtedly be over at Gulfstream Park for that December 9th Caribbean Classic, centerpiece by the $300,000 Caribbean Derby. That should be a lot of fun. And, of course, Ronnie, comes just a week after opening day of the championship meet.
Can't wait. Never been in this part of the world.
Yep.
Always down in South America, so it's something new, and it's going to be fantastic. And can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Now, I'm planning on having a big fat bankroll for the championship meet at Gulfstream Park because, well, we're going to get fat with today's Rainbow Six. What are we doing?
I got it right here for
$43.20.
Let me show you this. I went 3 deep in here with the 4, 6, and 7, and you see as I go down, and in race number 6, I think those are the logical 2 horses in there. I know Yaga, you had some interest in Arch Villain, but in race number 8, one horse I just want to point out, and that's Mexican Lucky. I think this one is 15 to 20 to 1 on the morning line. Go back, a really respectable fourth at the distance, a couple of starts back. That's a long shot that I've added to my ticket, and I think if I can get that one in, maybe I can knock some people out. And of course, this is my template, and good luck whatever ticket you come up with, these guys come up with.
Yes, it's a challenging card. Especially, I feel like the second half, the Rainbow and the late pick 5, these races took me quite some time. I thought and believe there's a good chance the first few might be on the chalky / formful side. Might not be the case down the line, and I think that Rainbow 6, to be fair, is anchored by that 9th race, Ronnie, that has Papa Pig, Grand Venezuelan, Collective Wisdom. That is a loaded Florida-bred allowance.
Yeah, I like Collective Wisdom in here. I think I'm giving that one the nod, but I did use a couple of horses, and I left out my buddy Papa Pig. See if that gets me.
Papa Pig. I got a price idea in that race you will hear about if you stay tuned here on the broadcast, and we certainly hope that's the case as we pick our way through race number 5. And as I said at the top, in giving a little shout out to the outside horse, the 8, Little Florentina, in that early pick 5 play. Fact that she's never been on a dry dirt track. She's just got a look to her today, getting hopefully fast dirt in race number 5, and the track is fast. It's just a little overcast as we do the show with you. And Juan Rodriguez, the trainer, is just having a great run of it here at GPW. That's good enough for me to take a small shot against Flying Queen, who's a money burner, at 0 for 11, right?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And but I think that maybe Flying Queen may have finally found the spot where she can repair that reputation as a chalk burner. She stretches out to 3/4 after finishing second, going 5.5. I don't trust her that much. I put her on top of my ticket, but I got some questions. Now, I'm going to go revisit your 8 horse in here because I was struggling with this race. I was struggling with this race because of that exact reason with Flying Queen. How could you trust her?
You can't. Last 3 races, okay? 1 to 2, even money, 7 to 5. She's got 1 second out of those last 3 races, and was blown off the track last time out by Wiggle It Jiggle It, who was a firster who got bet, but returned on a wet track off that race and did not run all that well. Tavrida might take some money, second off the claim, but a claim that was made back about a year ago, in fact, a year to the day on October 28, 2016, a tricky 5th race to start things out in the Rainbow 6. As we move ahead full steam to the second half of this day number 20 at GPW. Race number 6 begins the late pick 5, and big number 68's in the mix today, and he's in good form. This has been a real nice claim. Yager, the horse, of course, and he is one of 2 I'm using in the first leg of Saturday's late pick 5. We will show you my ticket right now. We're on 5-7, running for the Feds. Gave me a little intrigue as well, reunited with Armando de la Cerda. But I like Yager, whose last race, I think, quite frankly, wins this today. Race number 7, I am going to stand alone with Morning Destiny. Did you take her on top?
Yeah, I did. Turn her back to 3/4. Looks like the late when she was 3 to 5, going 6.5 last time.
Now, the 5, 6, and 7 for me in the 8th race. I've got a quirky last-out bias horse in the 5, Nation USA, who might be able to, I don't know if she can win, but certainly sneak into the Tri or the Super. And then it's a basic 3-horse spread right down to the wire, and that includes race number 9, which took me quite a while, and I wound up using Papa Pig, my long shot, the 7, Sir Hanoun. And they probably, and it's narrowly, they've got to beat Collective Wisdom, who has really, to be fair, stepped up his game for Ralph Nix.
And we watched that race again just before we came on the air, and boy, there was a game performance.
Yes, his last dirt race, which we have for you, and we'll bring that race to you in just a few seconds here on the show. You'll see a very determined effort a few starts back against Love Conquers. But Yager, and I'm a little bummed that number 68 is on the injured reserve for the Calgary Flames. I love that he's back in the NHL where he belongs, but his horse sake, Yager, who's by Uncle Mo, has got to win 2 starts back right around Labor Day weekend over at Gulfstream Park. It's a race we are about to show you, and you would like them as a long shot play or mid-price play last time, and he ran a great race. A lot to like with Yager as we take you through an effort that Edgar Zayas was aboard and just rode him perfectly, had him saving ground, covered up, angled out 5 wide, and Yager was up in time with some time to spare.
Yeah, he's looking to score here against 25 optional claims.
I see what you did there. You like him, though?
Yeah, I like him, but I thought the jump up to 25, it might be his level. I don't know what, it's sort of like a lateral move in here. Would I leave him off the ticket? No. But I had some interest in the number 3 in here, Archville, and debuting locally for John Service. So John Service guys are back in the entries now here at Gulfstream Park West. First starts and finishing 4th behind a next out winners called, one called Channel, one called Lippman. It was a first level allowance race on the Monmouth Turf Course. Was back in September. Want to show you a stat on John Service. I wish it was a little better because I like this horse this afternoon. Layoff 31 to 60 days in turf routes. He's 9 for 70, 13%, 31% in the money, only $1.60 return of investment. But John Service does an excellent job. He does very well at Gulfstream Park West, and I believe this is his first horse running here.
Oh, it is his first horse for sure, and we are starting to see as these weeks go by, names, whether it's Todd Pletcher and his frequency in the entries, Mike Maker, and even a top trainer like John Service shipping horses down, getting ready for the championship.
Eddie Pleasa won the other night.
And Eddie Pleasa, good call, paid $70 to boot in that win on the turf.
One thing I want to mention, in the horse that we both have in third, Coleman Rocky, boy, Gustavo Delgado's barn starting to heat up. He had that real great horse, my favorite gift, had another winner. So there's a horse you might want to take a look. That barn is starting to heat up and running well over here, right here at Gulfstream Park West.
And that horse, Coleman Rocky, has kept some good competition. His company lines and his races have been very consistent and consistently good over the last few months. It's definitely got a chance. It's a very good race to kick off the late pick 5. Let's move on. Race number 7 as we head down to the wire on this Saturday with the 2-year-old filly, $50,000 maiden special weight. I believe, and you noted the cutback in talking about your Rainbow Six, from 6.5 to 6. And let's show you the effort going a little further. Adding that extra 110 yards for Morning Destiny, I think that was ultimately her undoing. She's highlighted, and she was a big 3-5 favorite. I get that. She looked the eventual 3rd place finisher, Luz Mimi Princess, in the eye, put her away. In the end, though, at 6.5, my friend, could not hold off Aaliyah Story, who just picked her off.
And leading rider Edgar Zayas in the saddle today, so he'll certainly be able to judge what happened last time out. And he's 2 ahead of MSC El Jaramillo as they entered this afternoon. So I agree with you. That was your single there. This is a major one. The other horse I use, Miss Sophia Star, is a $170,000 daughter of Congrats debuting for always dangerous Todd Pletcher.
Who's picked things up. He had gone, and it was a very brief window, and you felt it would be a brief window, but he was 0 for 6 to start off this meet with 3 huge odds-on favorites losing. Winners the last couple of days, including a 73 buyer out of Colton, Mississippi, who looked pretty good, winning his A other than yesterday. And a little rundown here with the 8 Miss Sophia's Star. Now, if you're wondering where Tyler Gaffleone is, because he's not listed to ride this horse or any other on today's card, he's riding the Hawthorne Derby today up in Chicago for trainer Mike Maker on Bronson. Anyway, you have Miss Sophia's Star, the 4th priciest Congrats to sell at Keeneland, September of 2016. Dan was pretty good. This is her first fall to date. However, there's always a but and a however. Pletcher over the last 5 years with 2-year-old firsters on the dirt here at GPW, he's just 2 for his last 18, which I found surprising.
Yeah, you know, sometimes when you see those stats, they jump off the page. Just to touch on the horse you have in fourth, I have in third, Unbroken Spirit. This one go for Eric Yo, going from turf to dirt this afternoon. Look that up real quickly, 0 for 8.
Right.
So just not a move that he does a lot. Just wanted to point that out. People might see that fourth place finish going back to the dirt today. So we'll see how number 2 Unbroken Spirit runs.
She could improve.
Yeah, I think you got the right single, but
I feel
really
a
do.
firster going 6 with Morning Destiny today. A firster's going to have to be pretty good to cut her down. I know she's burned money and she's had 4 chances without a win. Today is supposed to be her day unless the Pletcher firster or the Gio horse really steps forward second time out. As we step forward right into race number 8, another turf sprint coming your way. A quickie here, as I like to say on the turf at 5/8, $10,000 3-and-up maiden claimers. And it really depends upon, I think, this race. You may go no further than the number 7 Ramcat, who's got that coveted early speed, but is taking. And I love Reed Nagel off the claim here, but they claimed this horse for a quarter quite a while ago, almost 40 days ago. Immediately in for 10.
Yeah, immediately drops to the $10,000 level, set the pace, retreated to finish 6th. It was a 5-furlong debut across town. Obviously, a very shaky call on that drop.
Yeah, it just feels like if this horse wins and gets claimed, then maybe it won't get claimed. But if it wins and this gelding by Gone Astray gets claimed, I mean, they lose a few thousand on this. This is not even close to a break-even proposition. And off that, that was a big enough negative for me to just go slightly in another direction. And I'll take a first-time turfer in the 6th. El De Danny. I like two-step sauces on the turf. I like trainer Joe Orsino. There's not much on the dam side as far as prior turf racing. She was an 0 for 4 maiden. This is her first foal, but why not give Joe a little time to work with this horse second off the claim, because after he picked her up, he ran her back 2 weeks later, and now she's off a little bit of a layoff.
Well, I touched on Mexican Lucky a little earlier. That's the 8, a respectable fourth at the distance, 2 starts back, hoping to rebound. Came up empty, but it was a really strong 5-furlong dash that has already produced 3 next out winners from 6 starters. This one's worth a look at a price, I think 15 to 20 to 1 on the line. So Ramcat in the number 6, I have in fourth. Another wide open affair here, I believe.
I would hunt around. I mean, Ramcat might be an obvious and major trap at a short price, lo and behold. And the 5 Nation USA was kind of my weirdo bomb after being bias compromised over at Gulfstream Park West turf that, for the most part, has really favored speed over these last few weeks. Moving on to race number 9, and in a way, I think this is sort of obviously towards the end of the card, but on this show, we kind of save the best for last. This is just a very solid, deep, and competitive final scheduled dirt race on the card for the Florida breds in this A other than allowance race. Collective Wisdom moving back, and we kind of touched upon briefly, Ronnie, that real determined effort in his last dirt race at Gulfstream Park right around the second week of June. And it's a race we'll bring you right now here on GPW today. He looked beaten. He's in between Love Conquers, who's probably a bit better on the turf, but nonetheless fired a biggie, had this horse basically dead to rights, and I was impressed. Collective Wisdom never, ever backed down, and maybe he, at this stage of the game, wants to be a dirt horse.
Yeah, wants to be a dirt horse, so I want to show you a stat as they come to the finals. Just a game performance here. These 2 horses, once again, would not give up through the stretch. It was very exciting performance. And Ralph Nix, I just want to show you a stat here. Turf to dirt, route to sprint. He's 5 for 26. He's 19%. He's in the money 46% of the time, so good statistics. And I just think Collective Wisdom, as I mentioned, was the one to beat here. But I want to hear about your 7.
Well,
that's the one I don't have.
Sir Hernown, my feeling in taking a little stab with this horse, and I mean, as far as the disclaimer, he might not be this ilk anymore. He clearly, at least at first glance, his last few races leave something to be desired over where he was earlier in 2017. But now he's got 35 days between races. He's got a big breeze a week ago on October 20th over at Gulfstream Park, and I feel as though there's no crazy drop for a trainer who's not going to waste his time. If he feels a horse maybe is tailing off, Peter Walder's going to put them in a race where he feels they can be competitive. This horse got some back class, and again, when you start to dig a little, maybe he can relive some of his more glory-type races from earlier in the year.
I'm surprised you didn't use a horse I know you liked a little on, Noble Venezuela. I know they use a speedy son of Wildcat, Wildcat Air, trying to recapture that form he displayed. Remember when he crushed those 12-5 condition claim? He got like an 85 buy.
I was like, when I saw that race, and it looked like after watching him get bet,
right,
and the fact that he was claimed off a huge daylight fast win, I remember thinking, wow, they might really have caught Gilberto Zerpa trying to get away with one. Yet 2 subsequent races and losses at 4-5 and 3-5. So that begs the question today, following a vet scratch back on October 18th for Noble Venezuela, which horse do we get today?
And that's true, too, about Yvonne Belsoir. Has been doing a good job.
Doing a great job.
Doing a good job.
And he may have a big day with Yager, a few races back, and even D. Shiflett today in the 3rd. Could be a very big Saturday here in Miami Gardens for Yvonne Belsoir. Now, as we wrap things up, I am, and he'll get mad at me, but I'm looking for a Peter Walder double. I know he's very superstitious, but you clearly saw what I saw, and I think most people are going to see in this race, where I didn't love any of the horses that just weren't in good form. Telling Tony's mired with the post all the way on the outside, and Walder's been so deadly when taking sizable 50% drops or more in claiming price.
Yeah, but it is a red flag drop, so you're a little bit concerned, but he finished second between repeat winner metaphorically and next out winner Optal, so it comes out of a good race there, drops it down. I had some interest in the horse you have in 4th, and that's Metz, who's my sort of long shot.
Is this your long shot today?
Yeah, he ran well on the turf here in 2015. Again in 2016. He returns to the grass after chasing the pace he faded. That was going 6 furlongs. I think that sets him up perfectly. Seems to like the...
He's got some back class, and he's got some good-looking turf races a while back. If he can revert back to them with that early speed, he might have a say in the outcome at crunch time. And one thing I've learned, I don't know much, I do know when Ronnie likes a long shot, you best be paying attention. And we'll be paying attention, right? Chris Griffin?
Yeah, Chris Griffin. He'll be up in, what, 1 minute? Less.
Maybe less. I don't know. He's up in the sky, and we've got a little Saturday scratches and changes with Mr. Griffin, who's done a great job. 2 talented announcers on this circuit, Pete Aiello, Chris Griffin, and our man, CG, is coming your way.